Retired Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid has died at 82 after a fight with pancreatic cancer. For more than 3 decades, the Nevada Democrat was known as one of the toughest deal makers in Congress during a time of immense partisan divisions. In a statement, President Biden, who served in the Senate with Reid for 22 years, said, for Harry, it wasn't about power for power's sake. It was about the power to do right for the people. Chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett has more on the legacy of the longtime Democratic leader.
I didn't make it in life because of my athletic prowess. I didn't make it because of my good looks. I didn't make it because I'm a genius. I made it because I worked hard.
Those words spoken to be the key to success by a man who embodied what hard work and tenacity truly means. Harry Reid earned a reputation as one of the toughest lawmakers in Congress.
The deal doesn't have to be a fight. There's a simple path forward. Just put all 4 bills together, bring them to the floor.
A former amateur boxer, he brought a willingness to draw partisan blood and famously carried the motto, I would rather dance than fight, but I know how to fight.
Republicans were willing to do anything to take health care away from millions of people. Scores of votes to repeal it. What a waste of the taxpayers' time.
Reid grew up in the small town of Searchlight, Nevada, in a cabin with no indoor plumbing. He had to hitchhike 40 miles to attend high school, where he met his wife, Landra Gould.
She's been the being of my existence in my personal life and my public life.
Reid was elected to the House in 1982, rising to the heights of power, serving as Senate Majority Leader in 2007. Over his 34-year congressional career, Reid was behind many landmark Democratic victories, pushing through a sweeping economic stimulus after the Great Recession, and Reid played a significant role in passing the Affordable Care Act, which he later described as his favorite but hardest fight in the Senate.
I want the people of the state of Nevada to know that I am so grateful, and I have done my best. I haven't been perfect, but I've really tried my hardest.
Major Garrett joins us now, along with CBS News political contributor Joel Payne, a Democratic Party strategist who worked for Senator Reid. Good morning to you both. Major, let's begin with you. What do you think his legacy will be?
So let's start in Nevada. No one rises to national prominence without getting reelected. So in Nevada, Harry Reid's legacy is environmental first and foremost. He kept something from happening that was going to happen, making Yucca Mountain the final resting place for all nuclear waste in this country. Harry Reid blocked that, a significant victory for Nevada. He also brought the Nevada presidential caucuses to that state in 2008, and ever since, it's been third in line in the Democratic nominating process, elevating Nevada's importance. Also, he built the most important political machine in the state history. For 20 years or more, anyone who made a political move in Nevada, Democrat or Republican, had to vector off Harry Reid and his political machine. Nationally, he was Mitch McConnell before Mitch McConnell. What do I mean by that? He was a tenacious party and Senate leader who used all the procedural rules of that body to get what he wanted to achieve, often to the consternation and boiling fury of his political opposition. He also centralized power in leadership offices in ways even Lyndon Johnson did not. Lastly, on a national level, he intensified what was already happening, an intense fight over the future of the federal bench. That legacy on the federal bench and its implications for the Supreme Court, also part of Harry Reid's legacy.
Joel, speaking of the current minority leader, Mitch McConnell, he praised Senator Reid on Twitter yesterday, saying even though they had intense conflict, he appreciated the friendship. Having worked for him, what was that relationship really like in the halls of Congress, and what stands out to you about how he conducted himself on the Hill?
Well, Harry Reid was an amateur boxer, and styles make fights. And I guess you could say Reid and McConnell probably looked at each other and saw similar fighters. They saw mirror images of each other. People who were, you know, for lack of a better term, gym rats, who worked their way up from the backbench of the Senate all the way up to leadership, and just understand how to get hard things done. I think that's the Reid legacy. Major talked a little bit about some of those accomplishments nationally. I worked for him at the beginning of the Obama administration in 2009 and 10. And I'll tell you, it was the most productive Congress in history. You just go back and look at those accomplishments, the ACA, but Wall Street reform, the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act for fairness for women in the workplace. The repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, S-chip, 9/11 first responders bill. It was a modern day great society, and Harry Reid helped lord over it.
Major, speaking of former President Obama, he encouraged then Senator Obama to run for president. President Obama said in a statement last night, "I wouldn't have been president had it not been for your encouragement and support. I wouldn't have got most of what I'd got done without your skill and determination." Let's talk about that skill and determination and some of the legislation that was passed, Major, including the Affordable Care Act. Was that his greatest achievement?
I don't think there's any question that from a procedural point of view and from moving a complex piece of legislation through Congress, the Affordable Care Act is without question Harry Reid's legacy. He believed that that bill would stand the test of time, not only politically, but practically. And by all measures, it has. More people are signing up. Yes, it requires subsidies, but there is no longer talk in Republican circles, as there was vociferously for years, about repealing it. And Harry Reid used every tool in the book to deal with a 60-vote Senate majority of Democrats. Remember that. To get Democrats on board, even though they were reluctant. And yes, did he hand out what were described at the time, probably accurately, as special favors in Louisiana and Nebraska to get that 60-vote coalition? Yes, he did. But he considered the goal worth all of the hard work and sometimes the uncomfortable deals necessary to make that legislation not only a reality, but one that has stuck and stayed in American political and insurance life.
Indeed, he will be long remembered. Major Garrett and Joel Payne, always good to see you both. Thank you very much.